All right, Superhero Academy, episode 36, James Taylor. And today we're talking about how to build the willpower, the strength of will in 7 steps. So we're going to be incorporating some rhetoric. These steps are from James Allen's book, Mastery of Destiny, I believe. And we've talked about James Allen before. With As a Man Thinketh. So he's another guy like Neville Goddard to me where I don't know where these guys got this stuff from, but this stuff just makes sense. So in order to talk about building the willpower or the strength of will in these 7 steps, we need to talk about why it's important to, like, why we need to build willpower in the first place. You may be sitting at your house saying, well, what do I need willpower for? Like, I don't really care, right? Like, I don't really, whatever may happen, may happen. I don't really care. Whatever, right? So, why you need willpower? Why this is important? Let's backtrack a little bit to the things that we do. So, you're not responsible for the actions of the person next to you. What they do, what your neighbors do, all those people, you're not responsible for their actions. You're not what he calls the custodian of their choices. You are responsible for your own actions and the custodian of your own choices. So our free will, okay, because a lot of people says we don't have free will. Some people may say we do have free will. And then there's the fate aspect of it, right, or destiny. So here's how those two work together. Man's free will enables him to choose the action. And the instant you choose the action, the effect is now out of your hands. So as you sow, so shall you reap. Fate is really justice at work. And justice is the unequivocal retribution or payment of all things that have been sowed, or the choices that you make. So justice is your choices coming to fruition equally all the time. Your present, this present moment, is a sum cumulation of every choice that you have ever made up to this point. Justice is the balance in the world that every effect is an absolute equal ration to the cause. So the true law of this universe, one of the true laws, is that of cause and effect. And I think there are 7 true laws according to the Kabbalion. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about just building the willpower and why you need that. So the true law of this universe is that of cause and effect. Character is born from deeds. Character is shaped by deeds. The cause and effect make a man what he is. The constant doing over and over is what creates the character of a man. Life at its core, this is how we grow, causes a man to grow by the constant cause and effect of his choice of action and inaction. Fairness of life is irrelevant, as the more you are consciously responsible for your actions, the more you can aim fate in the right direction. Man wants to, and this is where like religion comes in, and science as well. The separation of science and religion is why we have a lot of these issues. They want to work together. They should work together. Man wants to relinquish responsibility for good and evil by creating this absolute good and evil in the form of deities, right? We have to attribute these aspects to something or someone outside of ourselves. By creating this God outside of ourselves to whom we attribute good, we say that nothing good can come from anything that we do automatically. And this is where the we are born into sin comes into play. So we also create a subsequent evil or devil, that opposition to the good God, and we give responsibility for all the bad things that happen to the devil. So every good thing that comes from God, all the bad things come from the devil, and we have no say in anything that happens. But we do. The problem of evil subsists in a man's own evil deeds, and it is solved when those deeds are purified. We are the origin of any evil whatsoever in the world. Man is. As we stated before, the current present is the sum of all past choices. All choices have not just instant payouts, but future payouts. So when you make a decision, like let's say you choose to get some ice cream, there is an instant dopamine release, right? A reward. Dopamine is the reward hormone for getting and eating the ice cream. So the instant reward is the dopamine release and what makes you feel good that you just had some ice cream. The other reward that you're getting that you may not get payment for instantly is the havoc that the sugar is wreaking on your immune system, on your digestive tract, on your teeth, on your nervous system, etc. And we don't pay attention to that because of the dopamine. It's overshadowed by this pleasurable feeling. So again, willpower, right? Willpower. It is therefore necessary that man build his will to tolerate all things good and adverse. Because handling adversity is a way of understanding life's justice, that all things are obviously happening for a reason, but the reason is the cause. The cause was our choice that we made at some point in time. So let's say you're perfect, which no one is, no one ever will be. And let's say that you've paid for all your previous sins already. Because you will always lack in knowledge moving forward, because life is about gaining and applying knowledge. That's what wisdom is. You will still experience learning opportunities which seem adverse because of our own ignorance. So because of our ignorance, the learning opportunities will seem adverse. So if everything comes down to the free will to choose our actions, then we must either clearly and intelligently make every single one of our choices, which takes great focus, determination, and willpower, sowing, knowing that we will reap, or we will continue in our ignorance, constantly reaping the fruit of the seeds that we've sowed until we have learned a lesson that we are being encouraged to learn by these adverse effects. The truth of our world is that you reap what you sow. Every action has an equal reaction, and every cause has an effect that is in equal ratio to the cause. So in order to accomplish what must be accomplished, you must build up and increase the power of your will. The power of the mind must be utilized in order to accomplish anything great, and to harness the power of the mind, one must have strength of will. So there are 7 steps to building the will. And we're just going to get right into these. Again, these are from James Allen's book, The Mastery of Destiny. So the first one is you must break off all bad habits. If you can't do this, you have no chance of building the will. So if you're not willing to break off bad habits, stop this video here and go do something else. So you must break off bad habits. Breaking off bad habits demands successive efforts. So efforts in a row in order to break off these bad habits, because immediate pleasure resides in these bad habits, and we cannot rule over ourselves if we cannot put forth the effort just to break the bad habits. So these successive efforts give us an increase in the strength of our will. And to stop bad habits requires a strength of purpose. So you must have some type of purpose in order to even want to break these bad habits, right? Number 2, form good habits. Forming good habits requires intelligent direction of that purpose. So not only are you having to break the bad habits, but now you must form good habits to replace the bad habits with, which requires that direction of purpose. We must constantly watch ourselves now, right? And be mentally active and energetic in the perfecting of ourself in breaking these bad habits and now replacing them with good ones. Number 3, give scrupulous attention to the duty of the present moment. And he talks about thoroughness. Okay, thoroughness in everything that we're doing. Thoroughness in accomplishing things can only be done by giving full attention and focus, which are powers which give us weight to our character. Attention and focus in the present moment, to give scrupulous attention to the duty of the present moment, which requires singleness of purpose. So, strength of purpose, intelligent direction of purpose, and singleness of purpose. The single, focused on a single thing, the concentration. Number 4, which is that's been a thing for me. Do vigorously and at once whatever has to be done. Now, idleness and a strong will cannot operate together. So do not put off to tomorrow what can be done today. This is why. Strength, success, and peace comes when we do now what we can do, not waiting till later. Do vigorously at once whatever has to be done. 5, and this is also interesting. Live by rule. We must not just live by passion. We must adhere to the rules that we make for the right government of our own self-conduct. This gives us strength in will and reason. And we should make rules to govern our conduct in every area and cling to them, not living loosely according to our mere desires at the moment. Basically, you should go to bed at the same time. You should choose how many meals you're going to have and stick to that. Like, sticking to those things that you know you should be doing all the time is living by rule. And he actually says that you should write these rules down until you memorize them and you're doing them daily. Like, wake up at the same time every day. All those things. Don't be sleeping in. And that rule really feels to me a very masculine essence, in that you're adhering to these things daily, that you're doing them in a fashion that is successive, and that is not a feminine trait. The feminine trait wants to be a little bit more loose about how it exists, right? 6, control the tongue. This really shouldn't have to be stated or described, because we all know how powerful as the mind thinks, and to even speak that creates this sickness when we're speaking things that we should not be speaking. So we must not utter anything with evil intent and pureness without check. Essential. So controlling the tongue is essential to developing the strength of will and character. Watch what comes out of your mouth. Period. All the time. And then 7, control the mind. The true crown of being a king or a queen, in essence, is that the crown of a perfectly poised will cannot be attained without controlling the mind. So you have to do all these things first before you can even seek to control the mind. You have no chance of controlling the mind if you, first of all, can't even break off your bad habits. And so the strength of will is built by doing these 7 things. Understanding that all the little things in life are the most important, because the great things cannot come without the accumulation of all these little things, which is why thoroughness and scrupulous attention in the duty of the present moment is so important. Because if you're not thorough, then the little things will add up to those greater things. Again, cause and effect, right? Great things come about from the small, insignificant things. And always remember that only a few people will really acquire the skill and excellence necessary to achieve what they want in life. Which means that the law of survival of the fittest is not based on cruelty, but justice. Because the thoughtless and lazy cannot take precedence in front of or stand next to the thoughtful and industrious. And this applies to everything. If you do not eat right, you cannot stand next to a person who does, a healthy individual, right? There's all these things that add up that make the law of survival of the fittest a thing. So to be a person of character, one must develop the will to break from all bad habits. And the first step to controlling the choices you make is seeing that the choices you make are really just seeds being sown into the future. Take those 7 steps, work on them. It's not going to happen overnight. I promise you that. Give it everything you've got, and you can see your life start to change. You can aim the direction of the fate that is happening in your life. This was episode 36. I think we'll be hitting season 2 here, where we're going to be going into a bunch of how-tos. Season 2 is going to be considered all how-tos. Another 36 episodes, how-to everything. We're going to get right into it. So thank you for hanging out again. This is Sunday, and we're going into this week. Have a great week. We'll talk soon.